Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll read the $20 up super chats, and then you want to do a new stream
Sure,
for the
we'll do
rest.
another stream. Yeah.
Okay.
That
Um,
that game. Why, Sitch? Why do you do that?
do what?
Nobody gives a fuck about Game of Thrones on the
I like
stream.
talking
Yeah,
about
but
Game of
look,
Thrones.
it's like
Okay,
look,
people
you're
just
make
have to
it's
put
like
up with it.
look, it's like you're making a ham and cheese sandwich here,
Yes.
and you decide I'm gonna put peanut butter and jelly in here. This is what
Sometimes you want peanut butter and jelly on your ham and cheese, Adam.
you
Okay.
don't. You
Yes, sometimes you
don't.
do.
You have to stay on
Sometimes you
topic.
do. No, stop.
Sitch
We
is
were
here
wrapping it up. We were
Sitch is here
done. The
mixing.
conversation was over.
Yeah, but nobody wants to hear that.
I like to hear it.
Look, people want a button on the end of the talk that is pertinent to the talk.
Look at
They
this
don't
guy.
want a 45-minute
guy.
talk about. They don't.
Well, now you're gonna add extra time complaining about the conversation, the metas of the conversation.
All of this can be trimmed off the end of the
Look
VOD.
at this. Listen
You
to this.
can't trim that
Listen to this
big
guy.
peanut butter and jelly mess that you place in the middle of the ham
this
sandwich out.
Well, to be fair, I thought we were done. I thought we were done. Okay, that was
No,
it.
we're not. We're not done until we sign off.
I listen to this guy. Jesus.
Let's just look.
Yeah,
Pay
listen,
attention, Sitch.
shoot. I would love to talk to your boyfriend about Game of Thrones. Okay, get him back on. Whenever you
Yeah,
guys have a conversation.
in a stream about
about
Game
it,
of Thrones.
yes.
That would be amazing.
I want
Yes,
to talk
it
about
would.
Game of Thrones. I love talking about Game of Thrones. Jeez, looking at Adam over here, tone policing me, subject policing me. Terrible, terrible.
Look, it's for the chat. I know.
If you
look,
don't talk about politics, then you're an evil Trump apologist, Sitch.
As soon as people do that on other streams,
Yes.
I'm like, unsubscribe. I'm gone.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. What happened to A-Teams about forgiveness? Jesus. The second you stray away from the single stop subject I want to hear about.
You can't
It's
forgive.
over.
Look,
It's over.
I'm gonna forgive you this time.
Okay.
I don't, like I said, I don't have infinite forgiveness in my heart.
Listen to this guy. I'm going to talk about Star Wars and Game of Thrones and any other nerd shit that comes up. Okay.
Yeah,
and
chat was
going to deal with it.
Chat was giving me a hard time. I was getting a little bit triggered. I mean,
I know.
Look, I don't like bad faith people. They rub me the wrong way.
True.
I didn't like that he just couldn't answer the fair question. Like he had to dance around it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's read $20 and ups, and then we'll go to a super chat stream so Adam doesn't die of conniption fit or whatever.
Yeah. Do it.
Okay. Right?
Yeah. Do it.
PC for $20. Thank you, PC. Says, Pondering, it sounds like you respect your dad and he seems to respect you. Why wouldn't you tell him that you're not religious? Maybe you were joking about this, but he seems like he'd appreciate your honesty. I mean, it sounds like he was saying it would break his father's heart if he did so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting situation to be in. BMO for $20 says, who is this man and what happened to him in the time between this debate and the prior one? Yeah.
The last one, he was a part of the mob, so a little bit of mob mentality kicked in. So
Silence You Idiot for $30. Thank you. Says, listening to PP talk, very unfortunate that his an acronym here is PP. Listen to PP talk about his father reminds me of my grandfather. Conservative to the T, but invested into solar and geothermal for the house. He counters climate change with all the talk of government enforcements in New York, but rural. Interesting. Daniel Irish for $20 says, you're not proselytizing. The leftist here wants you to proselytize, to preach his truth, to convert the non-believer. I mean, yeah, there definitely seemed to be an element of that in the conversation.
Which how do you combat that? Because
you don't.
That's so soy.
You just say, well, okay, I disagree. I
fundamentally disagree on a principle level. That's like putting yourself in. You're basically saying my position is the only correct position. That's hubris off the charts. Like, I'm willing to admit I'm voting in an election. I could be wrong.
Right. Smokey the Bandit for $20. Thank you. Says PP went from one rabbit hole to another. Oh, I read that one already, but I agree with it. Uh,
Shouldn't you
did I
read the
read?
membership ones too? Because aren't we going to
Um,
lose those?
well, I was gonna keep this window open. But
Okay. Will that work?
are we gonna do a new stream, or are you just gonna edit it out? Because we're under 5 hours. Well,
I
I
mean,
guess we might not be under
if we
five
can,
hours, though. Yeah, maybe not.
if we can do them all in an hour, we're good.
Okay.
Do you want to just do them all in an hour?
We'll see. We'll see when we get
Okay.
through this because we like to gab. Sammy G for $20 says, I get sad hearing people believe that not voting for their guy is some kind of hate crime attack to this country. This is why America will never come together and fix things. We need all sides to work together. This twat. Wow. Sammy G throwing hard.
Well, Sammy G
Damn.
understands our philosophy.
Yeah.
You don't get respect as soon as you start disrespecting people. And then not only that, there's this weird emotional pressure thing that people like to do. Oh my God, if you don't vote for Biden, the world is going to come to an end. I fundamentally disagree with those high pressure sales tactics. I don't think they're convincing, and I think they're cringe.
True. I agree.
I don't think they work. Look, Sammy G knows. She's like,
Sammy G
look, I
knows.
was on the fence. Now I'm a full on Trump supporter.
Right. Rogue Elephant for $20. I like that's a good name.
Yeah,
says
that's
a
a great
leftist proposes batshit insane take. Someone points out as insane. What amount of responsibility is on the leftist versus the other person for carrying water for the other side? High rags, high CT. Yeah, that's the problem. Like I understand the notion that if all you do, right? If all you do is you never speak good about the Republicans, and all you do is 100% of the time you just say, "Oh, look at all the crazy stuff on the left. Look at all the crazy stuff on the left. Look at all the crazy stuff on the left." Yeah, that's definitely going to create kind of this perception that Josiah was talking about. But I feel like that's a wild straw man of what we do. And anyone that actually listens to our show knows that's not what we do. So,
Right. Yeah, of course.
and but that's the problem is that because then it's like, and what he said kind of to me illuminates this perfectly is it kind of makes it so that if you criticize your own side to any degree, you're automatically perceived as the other side. And so everyone's seeking to avoid that. So there's no there's no internal criticism. It makes it very complicated. Like, why was there not internal criticism? There's very little criticism of, anti-free speech, woke, gobbledygook garbage from mainstream Democrats and the left. And why was there no criticism of Matt Walsh's comments from the right? Or if there was, I didn't hear any. So, because everyone wants to be so afraid of being tarred with this brush. Like, oh, I have to be a team player. I have to be a good team player.
Yeah, that sucks.
Grendel Vat for $20 says, a more polite exchange than the last, particularly admired Adam's steadfast adherence to the rule of silent moderator. Have to log off early. Hope everybody, your family, friends on the Gulf Coast are safe in the coming days. Well, thank you. And I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So do you want to try to go through the rest?
Sure. If you think we can do it in an hour, easy.
Okay,
yeah,
I
let's
believe we
do it.
can. Okay. Let's see. Guru Ralph for 13 months. Thanks so much. Says, just when I was thinking of switching to A team, he goes and disses my boy Vivek. I guess it was meant to be S-Class is best class. Well, I appreciate that, even though I was also dissing Vivek. But
yeah, I was like, how do you get off scot-free here?
Well, maybe that was just he was already in the board with S-Class. But, that was the one thing.
Acceptable.
Oh, you read Ostraces, didn't you? Yeah.
I did, yeah. I read that one too, but I like your vigor.
Well, I'm sure you said S-Class is best class in a very lame way.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And Stug for $5 or for $10. Thank you, Stug. Says, in England, feminists call patriarchy blokeness. I have a headache. Is that true? That's hilarious.
That's awesome. Like wokeness, but bloke.
But blokeness, yeah.
That is funny.
CT for 2 Canadians says, Vivek, more like Vivek. I'll see myself out. There you go. Thank you.
You literally stole that from me.
There you go. I think we said it a couple streams ago. So,
Right.
what's your first thought for 5 months? Says, okay, Adam, show us on the doll where Vivek touched you. We all know where. Listen, you all know where Vivek touched Adam. It was right on the voting. Okay, it was right on the voting take.
Right
That's
on
where Adam
my
was touched by Vivek.
yeah. Right on my voter disenfranchisement.
Dark Soul stuff for 7 months says, shout out to the real comedians on the Sitch and Adam show. Chat. Keep it up, you guys. You're hilarious. Well, there you go. Good job, chat.
Our chat is pretty funny.
That's true.
They make me laugh at very inappropriate times.
I know. It's awful. Spank us for $5 says, last super chat for a while. My wife is leaving me, so money is tight. Need some free will to keep me from starting my Glock. Okay. Well, first of all, yes. Don't give us your money, Spank us. I'm sorry. It sucks that your wife is leaving you.
Yeah, that's horrible. I don't like hearing that. Look.
Right. But chat, listen, chat's here for you. We're here for you. The Sitch and Adam community is here for you.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to find another fish. And let's see.
I've been through many, many, many dark times in my life.
Right.
And there's always better days ahead. There really is. There really is. Well, so keep that in mind. This too shall pass.
Yeah, I think there's two things about like when you're in these like really bad spaces to remember. One of which I've already said, and one of which you sort of said, Adam, which is that yes, it's always you have to remember that when you are sad or depressed, that there is literally a chemical in your brain that's making you feel and think thoughts that are changed. Like when I'm like depressed or anxious, I like to think to myself, these are fake thoughts. Chemicals are making you feel this way, which is true. Chemicals are literally making you think and feel something that you would not normally think or feel. And part of that, and part of the danger of sad thoughts, is that when you're in those states, the chemicals make you think the fake thought that this is forever, that this is some sort of endless thing that you'll never come out of. Though, as we all know, because we've all been through spots in our life that are up and down, it always changes. It always goes away. You always find the equilibrium, over time. Even with the most fucked up tragedies in your life, you always find back from the equilibrium. So it is very important to remind yourself of that, and also to remind yourself that, you are like what you feel is what you think, and so you do have to find ways of thinking about other things, of distracting yourself, of focusing on other things in your life. Like if you that's the way to get over it. That's why people, a lot of times when they're depressed or they're sad or something happens, they throw themselves into their work. And sometimes I think, unfortunately, in America, this is categorized as like bad, as not dealing with a problem. I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I think that is a way to sort of move past things, is to focus on something else, to not just sit around and feel bad, obviously, and to kind of get stuck in mental loops or just loop again and again and again on something that upsets you.
Yep. Tomorrow's a new day.
Stoner4311 for 9 months. Thanks so much. Hello for 2 Canadians says, did I miss the update on you saying a woo to your wife?
It was uneventful. She asked me what it meant, and I couldn't tell her. So, and I asked Sitch what it meant, and he couldn't tell me. So
I sent Adam a picture of an awoo face.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing very exciting.
Look, if you guys don't even know what it means,
it means the face. What do you mean?
Okay, well,
listen, Adam and his wife are too old to understand us hip kids and our hip internet lingo. Okay.
Well, I think I know why young people are not having much sex these days.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. If that's your opening salvo, I feel sorry for you.
Okay. Listen, that's how you get a girl crazy. You walk up to her and say,
okay.
Ooh, baby.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you want some scritchies?
Okay, guys.
I could just feel Adam silent. Okay. Bimo for 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Bimo, for the 5 gifted subs.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What are you laughing about?
No, it's just funny. It's
Okay.
hilarious. It is
Okay.
hilarious.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes people forget that Sitch and I are literally in different generations.
Yes,
Like
we are.
there's a generational divide between us.
There is.
I mean,
yes.
I think it's super interesting, and I feel like a lot of A team is Gen X and a lot of S class is millennials. So
Mm-hmm. Base millennials. No one cares about Gen X. Okay.
yeah, of course.
You guys forget.
We're relics.
Have you seen that meme where it's like whenever they do polling, it's always like boomers, millennials, zoomers. It always skips Gen X completely.
Of course.
Yeah, so
whatever.
It's pretty funny.
We're small generation, so.
Was Obama a Gen Xer?
I think maybe. I think he was. Yeah.
Have we ever had a Gen X president?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Good question, though.
PNW Drew for $1. Thank you for your first super chat. Appreciate it. Reclusive for 10 months says, I don't think it's good to be anti something. You need to be pro something. I'm thinking of individualist or individualism. Both extremes still hate it. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. You know, you're talking about the don't be anti woke liberal because you want to be for something. And yeah, you could be right. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Maybe. So I think of a good phraseology for it. So, Squeeze Louise for $10 says the solution to climate change is to nuke China to bits. You cannot change my mind because I'm right. Wow. Okay. Disavow.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to help the climate. Yeah. I mean, I guess it would bring on nuclear winter, so there'd be no more warming.
There you go. Drew the Dogman for $2 says 15 years ago, big corporations weren't woke activists. Yeah, exactly. And I think that is why I think that has kind of helped feed the populist energy in this country. But then again, that's part of why I think when if wokeness goes away or if Trump goes away, I think a lot of this sort of that like right-wing populist energy that PP and other people are afraid of is, manifesting into fascism. I don't foresee it continuing forward. I think the fact that it is a cult of personality means that when the personality is not around, it goes away.
We had a really interesting talk when we talked about Trump's mugshot, and I clipped it out and I left it in there on whether or not if Trump is reelected, we will be growing closer to authoritarianism. So, and I think I'm more nervous about it than Sitch is. So Sitch has more faith in the institutions than I
because
have.
We talked about this. You were afraid that if Trump wins, he could go after all the Biden and everything.
Right. He's just gonna. My worry is that he's just going to appoint loyalists who are going to be the types of people who don't care about the rule of law and are just going to keep doing whatever Trump wants them to do. He tried to do that already and failed.
Right.
Now he's got 4 years to plan and plot and get his ducks in a row.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see come closer to the election what kind of rhetoric Trump is throwing out there. So,
yeah.
Mr. Tickle Trunk for 13 months. Thanks so much. Says, quote, woke equals critical consciousness. The belief that society issues are all power struggles and the way to see and fix them is by the Marxist lens. That's a really good way of defining it. I like that.
I agree. Yeah.
That's a really good way. Yeah. Let me add that to the list. Okay. Philip Pierce for $10 says, late in the show, y'all don't know Vivek's policies because y'all haven't really listened to him. Y'all keep bringing up the 25-year-old voting, which is only half the policy. Y'all the best still. Well, thank you. I mean, it's true. I haven't been super deep dive into Vivek's policies, but from what I've heard, I haven't particularly liked them. I don't know what the other half of the 25-year-old voting policy is. So
I think you have to have a literacy test to vote after you're 25. So I don't like the other half of the policy either.
Well, I know he wanted to have the civics test for 18-year-olds, but I don't know if that was to vote. Like, I don't know what happens if they fail that test.
Well, I thought the policy was raise the voting age to 25 and give you a civics test.
It is.
In order to be able to vote.
Oh, well, the civics test was supposed to be when you're 18 in high school. So I don't know. I don't know what happens if you fail that test. So
You don't get to vote.
okay, I mean that's pretty insane if that's the case. And also, it's also ridiculous because that would be unconstitutional. You'd have to change the constitution to do that, which I do not foresee happening. So it seems kind of like a waste of time. Landendorf for $5 says wokeness is a slang term for ideas stemming from critical theory and its subdisciplines, including CRT, intersectional feminism, and queer theory.
True.
True.
Yep.
It's interesting. I didn't know that PP had this arc that he went through. And even though I think, obviously the conversation today was a lot more chill and within, good faith than it was the previous conversation. But I feel like you should understand what I'm referring to. And I said this to him. I feel like you should understand what I'm referring to because he was literally in that space. I mean, he's watched all of Tucker Carlson's videos. If he's some big Jordan Peterson fan, he should understand what I'm talking about when I say woke and illiberal and Marxist and all this stuff. It's not like I'm talking to someone on the left who just has no clue what I'm talking about. I have to start from square one.
There was a little miscommunication there that triggered me a bit because I'm always conscious of how things can be misinterpreted. And when you're talking about, when that part of the conversation came up, you made a joke about falling down the alt-right pipeline.
Right.
And I was listening carefully because you could view that entire conversation that you're being sarcastic or you're being sincere. Yeah.
Right. That's true.
And I just, I try to make it clear, but people are going to think that you believe in the alt-right pipeline. And
right.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, anyone that's listened to us at all would know that we don't.
That's the easy part. It's communicating with the people who are only going to listen to you for the first time.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I always said, famously, I was a month away from being labeled as one of the alt-right pipeline people. So because
I
had that talk with Carl, or he had my video on his YouTube channel like a month after she stopped collecting data. Otherwise, I would have been on that list. So,
right.
Because my Gamergate video, I think, was on the list. So, Braindead Media for $2 says, "Keep my name out of your effing mouth." Chad unfriended. It's funny. I laughed because that was my thought. That was like my exact thought.
I was as triggered as
Will Smith.
Will Smith. Yeah, people were saying Will Smith in the chat. Look,
so funny.
I thank the chat for pointing out that I look mad or that I'm triggered or that I'm losing it because it does help me. I mean, I try to be as calm as humanly possible, but
no, it's good. I was intentionally
prodding how emotions work.
I intentionally was like, okay, I'm done with what I want to talk about. Let me bring Adam in the conversation to spice things up a little bit. That was my intention. I was intentionally prodding you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Look, that first hour was just, everyone in the chat was like, this is boring as fuck. Where are we going with this?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was being very nice and cordial.
So. Well, no, but this is the thing. You got to get claims on the table.
Right.
And he wasn't making any claims that you could hold him to.
Right.
So you're arguing all this stuff, and then you can just say, yeah, well, I don't really agree with that.
Okay.
And the last hour is like, okay, well, what were we talking about then?
Right. Solid for $5 says Vivek policy is 25 to vote, except passing a civics test or joining the military to vote at 18.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't agree with that.
Look, I'm not in favor of a civics test for anyone for any reason. So
okay. Well, you are for immigrants, but not for citizens.
Well, to become an American citizen, that's part of the enculturation process.
Right.
But I don't think. Look,
not for citizens.
It's just going to be politicized. We've said before. Pretty soon, it's going to be, what is a woman on your civics test? And if you don't answer anyone who identifies as a woman, you're not voting this year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine the massive fight, the obnoxious fight that would be constantly in the red versus blue states? What comprises the civics test?
Oh, it'd be.
I mean, then it'd be national, and then it's like whoever's president fights. It'd just be horrible. But anyway. Libertarian Sasquatch for $2 says, so your friend had a struggle session with you? That's kind of funny. That's basically what happened. Low Pan for $5 says, the Pondering lives in a red state and to maintain his contrarianism becomes a left-wing bigot. How absolutely droll. I was going to ask him, but we didn't, because we ran out of time. I was curious, and I guess part of like a lot of the beginning conversation was his background, which to me was interesting. I mean, I understand if you didn't think it was interesting. It's not as spicy. Was like kind of the journey he went. Is what made him become left wing at all? If he's basically, if everyone he knew was a conservative, how did he become left wing at all? Mason Jordan for $5 says, what percentage of black people are allowed to remain poor when financial policies are only. Wait, what percentage of black people are allowed to remain poor when financial policies for only them stop? What percentage needs to be hit to open them up for all classes? What does that mean? I don't know. Can you explain that to me?
I don't know either.
What percentage of black people are allowed to remain poor when financial policies for only them stop? What percentage needs to be hit to open them up for all classes? I mean,
maybe this is about Vivek's comments.
Well, no, it's about why are we using race instead of class? I mean, I don't understand the question because it doesn't make any sense. It would be if the policy is based around being poor or some level of income or wealth, then that's what it is. I don't know what you mean. Like, why would a percentage of black people be allowed to remain poor at all? And this, if it was based around being poor, why would there be any percentage of black people that be allowed to remain poor? I don't understand the question.
All right.
D528, thanks so much for 2 months, says Democrats' climate policies are harmful to the point that the government doing nothing would be more helpful to humanity. I mean, I guess it depends. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what specific policies you're referring to, but I think Germany would be a better example of that with the cutting down on nuclear for literally no reason. Libertarian Sasquatch for $2 says, so he's just aloof to everything the left does. That's why it was weird to me to hear that he basically used to be part of the IDW. So he should be pretty knowledgeable about all this stuff and not aloof to it. Now, he could disagree and think it's not as important, and that's fine. But you should be aware. You should understand it. You should understand what we're talking about. You just have a difference of opinion on what is important, what people should focus on.
Right.
KK Taxi for $5 says the kids were from a Catholic school. Yes, of course. They were there for the March for Life rally. Yeah, exactly. The Covington Catholic.
Kids. Yeah.
I don't think I think the average American easily, not the average American that like pays attention to news, okay, would remember the Covington kids thing and all that stuff. I think only 1% of those people knew about the Black Hebrew Israelites, and then that's what actually started the whole situation. It's just something that I've like almost never seen discussed ever.
Right.
And when I found out about it, that's why I made the video about it. I was just so shocked by this. I was like, how is this not being reported? This is insane to me.
How many Americans know that he won a giant settlement for defamation?
Well, they might know that because I think that was pretty widely reported, wasn't it? At least in the right-wing media. Maybe the left-wing media wouldn't, but the right-wing media was doing backflips on that one. So, but even the right-wing media wasn't really talking about the Black Hebrew Israelites either, which was kind of fascinating. But Crack Bandicoot for 5 Canadian says, quote, every vote not for Biden helps Trump is something that Biden's campaign team needs to hear for motivation, but not potential voters. Yeah. I agree. Gene Area Payment for $5 says, if you don't eat chocolate or the vanilla, the chocolate will run out first. That's funny. Farther Dude for $5 says, question for PP, what if Trump wins and he gets back into office and nothing really happens? He just goes through his 4 years and leaves office. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine he just would believe that that's so outside the realm of possibility, but...
I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet money on that happening at this point.
Yeah.
Look at Trump's mugshot. It's got vengeance in his eyes.
Here's the thing and here's the thing to also consider. If Trump was elected and he just was like a normal president for 4 years, doesn't do anything crazy. I think a lot of Trump supporters would call him a cuck. Would they not? They would call him weak.
I'm sure they would. There are authoritarians in the Republican Party and the
Well, no, I don't mean it from
Party.
that. I don't mean that they're authoritarians. I mean because they believe the narrative that there is an authoritarian democratic deep state that is evil, needs to be purged.
Right.
That forces Trump
to be president forever.
Well, no, stop. Not to be president forever, but it forces Trump to, do some of the things where like go after Biden, try to fire like half of, the federal government, do something like it kind of forces Trump optically to behave in some way that we would probably disagree with because of the narrative around his campaign.
I agree.
So.
Kind of scary.
Desert Runner for 17 months. Thanks so much. Says PP thinly failed authoritarian. He's chomping at the bit to punish the heretics. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Death by Sloth for $2 says, if you defend true facts, you're pro-Trump. PP. Yeah, there's a really weird framing around that issue. That you can't, just by saying things that were neutral or true, would be construed as a defense of Trump.
Yeah, because the goal is to call you a Trump apologist.
Right. But then this is why I brought up, I said, yeah, but if we said 5 anti-Trump things at the same time.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, right?
It
all matters about the voting, yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. If I said in that conversation, yes, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden 100%, I don't think that would have changed anything.
No, of course not.
I don't think it would change anything.
You need to make videos about Joe Biden all day long, every day.
That's what they say. Well, then why are you? You're just saying that. You're grifting. Why are you not making these videos? Blah 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 blah.
I just also the election is a year away. What if Sam Harris's prediction comes true and Joe Biden does have a basement full of dead children?
Right.
Am I still supposed to vote for him?
That's what I literally said in the conversation. I said, I don't know. I'll wait till we get closer to the election because I know all sorts of things are going to change as we get closer to the election. And that's when a lot of the coverage, including our coverage, will probably be more specifically about the election coverage.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're watching. We're interested.
Of course.
We're invested.
Yeah.
But I just would anyone tune in if we were just Biden sycophants?
I mean, some people, we'd have a completely new audience, I guess, if we just did that 24/7. But I would feel like I'm a liar.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be sycophant for. I don't want to
be a grift
candidate. Yeah,
right. Matthew Titus for $5 says, how many times does he have to say, quote, if you don't ignore the bad faith on my side, you are acting against my movement before you believe it? Fair enough. Mule Kicker for 11 months says, quote, oh, you won't vote for Trump? Oh, you think Trump is bad? Oh, they're not on the same level. Sitch, condemn Trump or you're simping for Trump to this NPC. Yeah, essentially. Low Pan for $5 says, I don't believe in the deep state that this man says Trump will fire. Please make this conspiracy theorist qualify this deep state he is alluding to.
I do think Trump is going to fire a lot of people if he gets in office.
Yes. Right. Federal Burger for $10 says, quote, by every important metric, the Democratic Party and the left are simply generally better than the Republican Party and the right. Adam and Sitch will never be able to adequately refute that. Pondering politics.
Well, that's the thing, too. And that's why I made the big brain joke, because he's making the claim that he's come down from the mountain and informed us. So now we are informed that what we're doing is helping Trump.
Right.
And I'm going, doesn't that sidestep the whole debate we were supposed to be having on which strategy is tangibly helping Trump and which strategy is tangibly hurting them? Mm-hmm. How can you just skip all that and say, I have won and you have been informed and stop behaving the way that you're behaving?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. That's ridiculous.
Right. Engineering Payment for $5 says, I bet if you ran a poll right now, I read that one.
I have more evidence than him.
Towards Trump, yeah.
I have more evidence than him already. I got Sammy G super chat, so there's one.
There you go.
She might have been making that super chat as a joke, though. But I don't.
I believe it.
I think Sammy G might be voting for Trump.
Farther ado for $5 says, question for PP. What about Democrat PACs that funded Trump candidates across the country, including Pennsylvania, because they think they had a better chance? Oh, yeah, that would have been an interesting question to ask. I'm sorry. Missed that one. I mean, I guess he would probably still say yeah, but it was at the end of the day, it was for a strategy to beat Trump. So it was worth it. I'm assuming that's what the answer would be.
That would be a great question instead of the Game of Thrones side.
Wow. Look at Adam rubbing it in. Okay.
Look, I forgive you.
Listen, I don't want your forgiveness. I don't want your forgiveness. I'm not apologizing for shit. Well, you see what's the name of the show? It's the Sitch and Adam show. My name's right there in the title. If I want to fucking talk about Game of Thrones for 5 to 10 minutes in a 3-hour conversation, I'm going to fucking do it. Are you going to suck it up?
All this. This is hilarious. Pulling rank even. Look at that. Look, we're the underdogs here.
I'm the Sitch and you got to deal with it.
I and the audience who could care less about the Game of Thrones side quest.
Yes.
We're the underdogs here.
Okay.
We got a regular dictator here on our hands. a regular authoritarian.
Yes. I think we need to talk more about Game of Thrones, honestly.
I mean, we can do it. Let's just do a stream devoted to Game of Thrones. I'm down.
Let's see, where was I? Sammy G for $5. Thanks, Sammy. Says, looks out the window. Yeah, maybe I will go outside in the hurricane versus listening to more. Such an Adam purity trial on Orange Man Bad. Very tempting. Yeah, I hope everything's going well for you, Sammy. Everything's safe.
In the eye of the hurricane now?
I don't know.
Wow. Cool.
Rex Vectum for $10 says, the story this dude told about his friend performing a one-on-one intervention on him because he wasn't towing the party line right is super creepy. Yes, it was. It was.
Wow.
Daniel Sank for 4 months says, Biden Inc. There you go. James Prime for $3 Aussie bucks says, 50% don't vote. I guess they're all Trump supporters. Go away, provide. Yeah.
The voting numbers are up really big. More and more people are voting in each election. The voter turnout is.
It's still like pretty low, isn't it?
No, it's actually.
I mean, not climbing. Low, but still like. Is it broached the 60% mark?
It's up to like 99%.
No, it's not. What the fuck are you talking? Get out of here! What are you talking about?
This is how you get Sitch to look it up. You throw out the wildest claim you can possibly think
I'm not going to fall for this. I'm not going to fall for this. You can't Bugs Money me into this. All right.
Why?
Sammy says that it's all fine. Well, that's good. That's good.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay. Go away for $5 says, Pondering, what's the best argument for Biden? I mean, I think he would say he's not Trump. So
wow, that's a terrible argument.
That would be my guess. Well, for someone who's not inclined to believe left-wing policies, because I'm sure he'd throw out a bevy of left-wing policies that he supports, that he's in favor, or Democrat policies, I should say. Bruh Moment for $5 says, thanks for coming on, PP. Unfortunate name, though. No more false attacks of Adam, or he will shoot you with his lasers.
Do you think that's... Do you think that's... He's going to defend us? I mean, I'm skeptical, but...
No. I mean, I don't think he'll attack us, but
I mean, it'd be cool.
Listen, I'll take not attacking. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, I'm fine with attacking. I'll take not mischaracterizing. Attacking is fine, as long as that's realistic.
I'm sure there are some people who are going to go investigate. Look, neither Sitch nor I have read Destiny's subreddit, so we don't know.
Right.
I only know secondhand somebody told me he was posting on there.
Yeah, someone sent me the link, and I laughed at him for doing it.
Okay.
It's funny, because I thought, I don't know, maybe I guess he cooled down, because on Twitter, he had some list of grievances he wanted to throw at us.
Did we get the list of grievances?
I asked, he didn't seem interested in going over his list, so... Moondoggy for 1 month, thanks so much, says, you guys need to realize when a snake is smiling at you. Maybe.
Look, I think at this point we have to be agnostic. Let's wait for him to slip up first.
There you go. Blade Runner, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. The Real Haltinator for $20 says, I always grew up wanting to be able to treat everyone well and naturally sided with the Democrats. And then I met their supporters and how they treat people they disagree with. Now I hate them and everything they stand for. That's interesting.
Disrespect. Disrespect.
Yeah.
So much is done out of just feeling jilted from disrespect.
True. Cypher $2 says, I'm voting for George R. R. Martin now. Based. Neo Sigma 24, thanks so much for being 1 month outside the simulation. Thank you so much, Neo Sigma. It's a top tier. Anyone who listens to one of your streams should realize you guys aren't right wing, especially when the way chat reacts to Sitch's TDS. You would think they should add more validity to your guys' criticism on the left. You would think, but it doesn't. It adds 0. They don't care. They literally just don't care. It adds 0 validity. So it doesn't matter. It's all just tribalism. Stuck for $2 says, no, I was just making a pun. There you go.
Good.
BMO for $20 says, Adam, you injure me. I have had many great dates with women, starting with a woo-woo. Hoi, hoi. They always never get past the first date. There you go.
Look,
the real.
Maybe we should do a stream on dating strategy.
There you go. It was funny. Originally, that's what Sherry wanted us to talk about on that panel.
No way.
Yes way. And I was like, I don't think we're the right men for that.
Oh,
one.
I forgot about that. You're right.
You're right. Autistic
I was like,
the guy who's been married for like 20 years. The real.
Look, I feel like I might be able to help a little bit.
Okay.
I honestly do.
Maybe if everyone. Yeah, you're right. You know what? You're right. We should take it back. Like I think we could give some insight here. The real Haltinator for $5 says, Adam, you mock people for fearing anarchy. Don't turn around and talk about my rule of law. LOL.
I didn't get that. I saw it when you super chatted, and I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure I really understand it either. Stock for $10 says, I think the people who believe that Trump, parentheses, Biden winning will quickly turn to a fascist, or parentheses, socialism, demonstrates a lack of faith in U.S. governmental structures. And I think that is quite telling. I mean, I do agree with that. Mecha Mind, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. Thank you. Aussie ODST for 10 Aussie bucks says, obviously it doesn't matter for me, but I haven't actually heard a good reason for why Biden is an option at all policy-wise compared to Trump. A-Team has a cool elephant, and S-Team doesn't pay his writer. His writer or his writer? Well, anyway, there you go. There's one for A-Team.
Right. Yeah. Fair. I mean, it's a fair criticism. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of comments. What do you mean? Well, I mean of me, not of you.
Oh, you said you had a
obviously.
cool elephant.
Well, I'm saying it's a fair criticism to say that I got mad or triggered, because obviously I did. So.
You did, but I wanted you to be mad and triggered.
Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes it comes off as uncool, and sometimes it comes off as totally based. There was mixed reports in the chat.
Okay.
A lot of people were like, Adam, based, let it go. Release the...
That's the way it always is. That's the way it always is.
Hulk out, Adam. You know you want to.
Solid for $5 says, you should have to pass a citizenship test to at least pass high school social studies. It could be framed as pro-equality. I mean, I think you should have to pass a test in social studies that's harder than whatever the citizenship test is for that. I would imagine.
I wonder if high school social studies, though, is the 1619 project. So
that's part of the issue. Yeah, I just don't think it should be tied in the voting. I should think it's tied into your grade in the class. So
right, yeah.
The real Haltinator for $10 says, the poor black question was if our economic relief policies are based on race. Oh, I see. What percentage of poor black people can we make it what percentage of poor black people can we make it class-based and not race-based?
Yeah, I get it now. You're saying,
right.
You're explaining why race is a terrible proxy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Which we agree with. Yeah.
Right. The Mark Twain's Revenge for $100. Thank you so much,
thanks.
Mark Twain's Revenge. Says, I got a strong feeling that the PP was hiding his power a little bit. He was probably scared of the unrepentant aura of truth, the magnificence of the banner of liberalism, of the righteous who walk the path of virtue. He was scared of the glory of centrism.
He definitely does not like centrism, so that is 100% true.
Mason Jordan for $5 says, with race-based policies as a sort of reparations for black people, what percentage of poor blacks would be acceptable before the program opens up to all races? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, if you just had a policy that just gave black people money for reparations, would it be a one-time thing? Would it be a continual thing? What level of, income would the black population as a group have to obtain before you would stop said policy? Yeah, I mean, these would be interesting questions for someone who's advocating for some kind of reparations-based thing. So, Stony for 6 months says that core reference is the worst thing about this stream. Ha ha. Thank you, Stony.
Maybe.
PC for $10 says, Adam, PP basically used your football metaphor. He said a car needs both a gas and a brake pedal. I thought he gave you a hard time when you used that metaphor last time. You did bring it up. I don't remember what the response was, but you did bring it up.
Progress and tradition.
Yeah.
Or I said defense and offense.
Oh, you got to bring up that picture before we end.
Sign off.
The Sammy G picture.
Okay.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. That's really funny.
The Master Blaster one, right?
Yes. Joe the Mig for 17 months says, PP did the same thing with PF Young, make a claim, get contradicted with a very well-known example, then balk claiming he's unfamiliar with the example. Yeah, I thought that might have happened to some extent. It may happen a little bit, maybe, but I didn't think it happened too much in this conversation. I didn't know he had a conversation with PF Young. I'll check it out. Mason Jordan for Dora says, sorry for my bad grammar. I'm playing Dark Souls. LOL, no problem. Goro Sorrow for $5 says, Dear Adam, I don't think Vito was jealous of Eric's success. When he talked to y'all the first time, the center of the talk was about hating these anti-woke blokes. That being said, he's 100% drama farming, and it is hilarious. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that conversation after the fact and took some notes, but I don't have them in front of me.
Girl Sarah for $2 says, also, since the last time you talked to Sam Cedar, I've been working on a bucket to leave at his doorstep. Should I stop? Will you gals get in trouble? I'm a minority, by the way. Stop. No buckets, Goro. No buckets. Stop it.
Trying to get us in trouble?
Yeah, stop it.
Horrible.
Dr. Dealer for 2 hours says, this dude is trotting out the quote, you can't be neutral in a moving train argument that keeps failing. He's considering your reasoning irrelevant because consequentially not voting for Biden helps Trump. Terrible reasoning. I agree. Which is why I asked him if the inverse would be true. And somehow it still was. So it doesn't make any sense. McGore for 2 hours says, if you stop swearing, I'll send fewer superchats. Also, my biggest disappointment whenever I watch a clip is that the cursing is bleeped out. At least mix up the bleeps with some duck quack sounds. We're trying to stop cursing because what happens is we'll put up a clip on the channel and it gets demonetized, and it literally will take a week to get
sometimes, yeah. What the heck?
It's insane.
It's like days.
Yep. And by then, no one cares. So.
We have the Vito clip ready to rock and roll.
Right.
So we had a real spicy talk with Vito.
Yeah.
Now you guys are going to go listen to it in the live stream.
Oh, so Sammy G made this great picture.
Yes.
It's funny because you referred to it as Master Blaster, which I understand because that's a reference you would get.
Right.
But you don't get this reference specifically. This is from SpongeBob.
I do know it's from SpongeBob, but okay. I don't know how it relates to the comic.
Well, no. So she said the Tuesday debate stream will be like this, and it's because you were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna sit back and let Sitch do everything." So it's so I'm just the big guy who breaks through the wall. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's big scary Sitch!" But then I just turn around and then there's a little Adam just in the back.
Yeah,
just chilling. So
ready to debate,
and I think it went well.
Yeah.
Dr. Diddler for $2 says, I'm very interesting. Not enough. Does the moderator step in and start debating? Well done, Adam. World's best moderator. To be fair, I literally dragged Adam into the debate. So, because I thought it'd be more fun that way.
Well, and he mentioned me twice before I spoke up. So
that's true. Dr. Diddler for 2 hours says, he's effectively saying treating Trump fairly in pursuit of the truth, which makes Trump look bad, will help Trump. Isn't that the implication that he thinks you should lie and do whatever it takes to get what you want? Yeah, I mean, I should have followed that up. I should have followed it up and asked, if I'm being objectively true and talking about some misreporting of Trump, should I just lie or just pretend it's not true? What's the solution there?
I wrote down the question, do you think lying is a better strategy for defeating Trump if we could just make up a bunch of stuff about him?
We should ask that. Yeah, that'd be an interesting question.
Yeah. Never
So
asked it though.
Sodos for $2 says if quote no vote was a candidate, they would win by a landslide over 50% of the time. Let's see. Pondering Pea Brain, call all of them evil Nazis. I refuse to browbeat or fearmonger to vote for the quote your guy. You want my vote, you earn it. There you go. Based. McGore for $2 says untruth number 3. The world is divided between good people and evil people.
True.
This guy is all direction brain. Can't understand that there are good Trump supporters and good Biden supporters and good non-voters. Yeah.
True. True.
Sodos for $2 says, I'll put this voting test thing to bed for Adam right here. Everyone, even children, will have the right to vote. But if you don't return the shopping cart, you lose the right to vote until you do 24 hours of cart return service. Wow.
I think my record is clean ever since you guys started making such a big deal about it.
Do you agree with that policy?
No, I think it's every American's right not to return the shopping cart.
Wow. What's up? Wow. You're a job creator, right?
Yeah, of course.
I disagree. That was a trick question. I agree with Solos. Your right to vote should be entirely contingent on whether you return the shopping cart or not. Okay. 100%.
Look, there was only one situation where I didn't return the cart ever since this came up on stream.
Yeah.
Now I have all your voices in my head when I have that cart. I'm like, oh man.
Isn't it funny? We guilted you into it.
Well, I even park appropriately, so I'm close enough to one of those things that
we forever changed Adam's behavior.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
I like it.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to return this cart. Here, let me just park next to the thing.
Yes. Will Hughes, thanks so much, Will Hughes, for joining outside the simulation. Oh my God, thank you so much. Top tier, baby.
Wow, yeah, that's nice.
Awesome. Anyway, there we did. We made it. We made it under 5 hours, Adam.
Sweet. So I guess we're wrapping up here?
Yes.
All right.
Anyways, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your incredibly generous donations. Thank you, Josiah, Pondering Politics, PP, for coming on and talking to us today. Thank you, Sammy G, for the wonderful fan art. And thank you, you who have watched the end of the stream. You have made it to the end. You are the true free will seekers. You are the true enlightened centrists. You are the true heroes of reality, the true protagonists. And we will see you all maybe sometime secretly before Sunday. We'll see.
Bye-bye.